Hello everybody and welcome back to the next update of new Azona. Now in this video we're going to be doing some animated builds and we're going to be mainly working on some residential buildings which are going to be fully interiored. So first I've just removed this building here as it's not what I'm going to build. And now we're going to get started. Now this is going to be a basic sort of classic Californian style building with some shops below and some apartments above. But I'm going to show you sort of this opening and closing shutter sort of design I've got. So if we just place some pistons here and cover them up with these pale oak trapdoors, and then we can place a sort of windowsill using these iron trapdoors and do the same on this side. So the windowsill will sort of either be at the bottom there or it will be up, showing it sort of open to let a breeze through or something. So here was my first design for how to do the opening and closing using a input. Then I significantly reduced the size using pistons. I mean, it's basic redstone, but it's just so I can get a 1-tick pulse to the pistons to shunt the trapdoors up and down. There we go, now you can see them in action as I'm working on the build through the night. Okay, and here are some little canopies in front of some of those windows there. And here are some others over on this side. For these other windows, I've got a slightly different design. So instead of being the trapdoor that opens and closes, it's actually the glass block behind that moves up and down. More realistic, I'd say. Okay, now it's time to do some landscaping around the back. So let's start by just adding a path, and then we're going to have a step down using some moss blocks. Now I'd like to add some swings for the kids to play on. And these are going to be big sort of basket style swings to contrast with where we did the normal swings in a previous episode. So yeah, there we go. Now let's add some pine trees. Some benches also really round it out. There we go. I mean, that's all I'm going to do for now. It's quite simple. Now I'm going to get the floors in place to mark out where our restaurants and our shops are going to be, as well as some office spaces. It's going to be a completely multi-purpose block, this. So this one's a little ice cream stall. As you can see, I'm putting up sort of the flavours of ice cream on the back wall there. And here I'm working on the sort of front pavement. As you can see, we've got some defects with the diorite to give the effect that it's kind of worn over time. This central area is actually going to be sort of open to the elements. It's going to be a covered marketplace. So as you can see, I'm building some stalls and I'll show you that in a bit. Okay, here we are. This is the final build, and let me show you around all the shops and things because I've now done the full interiors. So we're going to start here with a lovely restaurant behind me. So I've done the classic sort of red carpet because I always think that looks nice and luxury. We walk in, we've got some flowers and things on the tables. We've got light switches that turn off and on. There we go. So here's where the kitchen would be, as well as the toilets. And that's basically it. It's got a nice sort of view onto the outside street. Let's move on to the next building. Now this next one's another ice cream stall. I prefer this one. It's got the nice pink colours and lots of paintings, very vibrant. You can see where you'd sort of get the ice cream from on the left there and the till. This next thing is a plant shop, I guess. I don't really know. I was struggling for shop ideas. This one sells sort of different types of plants, leaves, foliage, all of that stuff. This is just the entrance to the apartments above, and here we move into the covered marketplace. This sells candles on the left, cactuses. We've got some art pieces on the left there for sale. Over here is another restaurant. This is, I guess, an Italian restaurant. I don't know. Ooh. Something tells me I haven't done the light switches for these. Yep, I haven't done the light switches for these. But this is a good time to show you where all the lighting system is. This is the ice cream stall as I showed you earlier. Nothing really round the back though. This is an office space for a graphics design company. As you can see, we've got a sunrise there, some computers and some posters that the company's designed. So this is a lovely sort of path for round the back that'd be nice and quiet because it doesn't really neighbour a road. Here's another office space for probably another graphics design company, to be honest. Some beefy laptops there with the trapdoors. A nice fridge for if you want some snacks. Let's turn the lights on. Yeah, so that all works. Cool. Okay, so now this is done. This is the view from the road. I think it's a pretty striking building given it's quite low rise. It's got a nice sort of Mission Revival design. A very California-esque design. But now we're going to move on to another sort of LA style building, but a completely different style. As now we're going to be building some Dingbat style apartments. Now if you don't know Dingbat style apartments, they're a low-rise 2-story high style of apartment often found in Los Angeles. So Dingbat style apartments sort of get their name from where you'd have a sort of logo on the front of the building, which would be where I've sort of left this bare quartz because I can't really do a logo. You have parking on the ground floor, then you have residences on the floors above. So now I'm going to do the interiors. I've tried to fit in 6 rooms per floor, which is really cramped. I should probably have just made it 3. Because for Minecraft, you've got 1 meter wide walls, so you quickly lose a lot of space and they end up pretty cramped. Now let's copy it and do it in a different colour scheme. There we go, we've got our first set of Dingbat style apartments. Okay, now I'm going to give you a nice tour of the rooms. So in here we've got our corridor light switch, and we've got an elevator around there. As you can see, it's nice and gloomy. And we can turn it back on. This would be a storage space for all the neighbours' goods and things. So if we take a sneak peek at one of the rooms, I think this is the smallest of the rooms there, because I had to kind of squish it in. And then this is some more standard style room, but it's still pretty small in comparison to what you'd get in real life. But I'm working with 1 meter thick walls here. Anyway, yep, and then you've also got some different style rooms where I had to fit it around the corners. Here we've got some HVAC systems, so we've got some ventilation, and we've also got some solar panels to make them nice and eco-friendly. But these solar panels, which are daylight detectors, also do the job of turning the lights below them off and on if like it changes night and day, which adds a bit of life to the build, I think. On to the next style. This is only going to be 2 stories high, so we've got a ground floor parking level and some apartments on the floor above. This one's going to be nice and pink to contrast. I think it's a cool colour. So yeah, let's do the same sort of method where we've got a central sort of corridor to access all of the rooms. I don't really know how these apartments function. I'm guessing because I don't actually live in one. But here you can see I'm furnishing one of them. These rooms are a bit bigger. I've tried to squeeze them in a bit less. So yeah, you've got a bit more room. Okay, let's take you on a tour of this next apartment. Let's walk up the stairs. You've got a light in the central corridor. And there we go, nice and homely. We've got a painting, we've got some fridges, a little toilet to our left. You've got a light in the back there, a little desk, some candles. Very homely, very cramped still. I should probably make these all just twice the size. And here's a final type of room. As you can see, this one's a tad bigger because it's sort of on the corner. So you've got a bit more detail there. Okay, pretty cool. Now let's copy it and just change the style a bit for our next one. As you can see, I've sort of added a wall there to stop people driving madly fast from the road down that little side street. Then I've added some texturing to the pavement so it doesn't look just really basic and boring. And it kind of grounds the buildings a bit more in their surroundings. Now we're going to do the lighting system, which is going to be tucked in this sloped roof here. As you can see, we've got an Etho hopper clock, a very slow timer, which will change our light switches from on to off. Let's just finish some of our texturing of the ground here. Just adding these little variations in textures really draws your eyes to sort of the buildings and makes them feel more grounded. Okay, I've adapted the style of our first style of building. So it's got a little extra dark oak bit on the left. And there we go, we've got a nice set of 5. And now I'm going to design a third style to round off our final little street here. So for this third one, I'm going to go for a more rustic aesthetic, a sort of more battered look to go on the end here. Okay, I'm just editing this building so the colours match the buildings surrounding it a bit more, as you'll be able to see with the jungle wood here. So yeah, I'm going to go for a sort of corrugated look. And then we've got a balcony on the side. And then we just need to extend it backwards to match the depth of the other buildings. Okay, let's have a look at decorating some of the rooms. This time we've got 8 rooms, so it is a bit cramped again. But hey, as I say, the walls are 1 meter thick. What have I got to work with? This is a corner room, so it's a bit bigger. We've got some nice paintings and curtains on the sides. Okay, before I add the roof, I'd like to take you on a quick tour of these little rooms here because they're nice and detailed. So let's have a look. Let's head up the stairs. And then, as you can see, I've got some lovely curtains, which I don't think you saw in the time lapse. I've added those in. We've got a matching colour scheme with the painting. There we go. Very homely. And this is a slightly larger room. As you can see, we've got some different styles of pink curtains. We've got a fridge. We've got some more paintings. We've got an armour stand, which I guess would be where you hang your clothes. A little bathroom in there. I use doors so I can actually fit it in. There we go. So those are our 2 styles of rooms. And now we can fill the rest of the building in with those rooms. Add a roof, which is just going to be a flat roof. So I can add some HVAC systems on top. So some solar panels and some ventilation. And then we can add some gardens for some of the residents on the ground floor. Alright, we've got a lovely street of 6 buildings here. Each of them looks slightly different, which is nice. And now I'm just going to move it along a bit so we've got a bit more space so we can put some more of a different style apartment on the end. But let's show you some of these buildings with an actual roof. So there we go, it's just a basic quartz roof there. Nice. And here's one on the ground floor. As you can see, it's literally just the exact same design. And it's got a nice garden, which is cool. We've got an elevator for disabled access. And we've got a large area for people to park their cars. Now might be a good time to mention that these sort of developments in real life aren't actually that pedestrian friendly. They're quite dangerous, but I just thought in Minecraft it seemed like a really interesting sort of style to build in. So that's why I've built it. So now we're moving on to a more conventional probably style of apartment. So these are going to be 3-storey apartments. And we've got a basic sort of modern aesthetic with a flat roof and sort of a black and white colour scheme. So yeah, let's just sort of build this out. We've got an interesting back with a little balcony on the 2nd floor. Okay, so this is a lovely row of 4 buildings. Now, as per usual, I'm going to add an interior because I like these buildings to all be nice and explorable. As you can see, these buildings also have a tiny patio, like a back garden area, but it is very small. And these buildings are also going to fill up this neighbouring city block. Now I've done the interiors, let's copy them across to all 4 apartments. Okay, so let's give you a nice tour. We're going to start on the ground floor, of course. We've got a nice open plan with a cool dividing wall and a sofa. We've got a nice bedroom in here, which really needs a window. Let me just do that quickly. Nice. Okay, now I can add the patio using polished andesite. And I'm just going to put podzol and leaves in these sort of dividing areas here. Okay, this is the kitchen area. We've got a nice stove and an oven below that. Okay, now I've given you the tour, I'm going to copy this 3 times so we've got 3 different sets of apartments. But first, I need to do the road between them. Now this is going to narrow into just a 2-lane road with a nice wide dividing barrier and a bicycle lane. And now for this 3rd sort of set of apartments, I'm going to make it more of a Spanish influence. So we've got a more terracotta colour scheme, which I think ended up pretty cool. Let's have a look. I must admit, I'm loving the terracotta colour scheme of that Spanish style apartments there. And let's explore the upper floors, shall we? So yeah, this is it. Alright, we can't leave this backside undone, so we need to finish this with a lovely boulevard. So let's make a start by actually completing the landscaping around our first street. As you can see, I'm just adding some palm trees and some dividing bushes to divide the properties. And now we're going to extend a tram line, as I said earlier. So I needed to do this awkward curve, but that turned out pretty cool, I think. So then we're going to adjust this bit I've just crudely copied across by adding some dividing bushes and some crosswalks, as well as some lamps. I've got a lovely design of lamp here. But what I have done with these street lamps, instead of putting the light above, I've actually hidden the light below, so it will give a nice glow below the lamp to give the effect it's sort of shining down. So I've got a frog light hidden there. But despite all of this looking really lovely, we are missing one crucial ingredient. The actual cars. So let's place them in. Oh, this looks so cool. Proper LA style here. We've got some Cadillacs, some yellow taxi cars. We've got some white cars, some convertibles. And there they are parked in the little parking spaces. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah, so here we are. I've placed in my car designs. If you'd like a video on the car designs, then I can maybe bring it because I have made quite a few. I've got a big collection now. I find it quite funny that what's actually quite a dangerous area for pedestrians in real life turns out to be pretty peaceful in Minecraft, because the cars sort of bring the sense of life to the city as opposed to where you don't have them and it kind of feels like no one lives there. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed these 3 different types of Minecraft residential blocks. We've got our first in a Californian Mission Revival style, which was our animated block with the apartments above the shops. And then we've got our second block, which was the Dingbat Apartments from LA. And I think that turned out pretty cool with the cars and everything. And then we've got our third style, which was the more typical 3-story apartment. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. Up next, we've got a mega build coming up. We've got the City Hall, which I've been so excited to build for so long now. But the unfortunate thing is, it ended up so mega it kind of dwarfs the rest of the city. So if you're excited and looking forward to that, please do subscribe because I'd really appreciate it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye.